What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So I am going to give you guys some updates. So I know that you guys, maybe if you follow the channel, know that I was hyping mana for a long time. And now this was not any time. This was like months ago, right? So I was hyping mana probably, you know, around this $1.18 range. I was saying, we should be buying this thing around the $1.15 range, and this thing went all the way down to like 65 cents, right? So don't think that I'm any genius by saying that, but at the same time, I wasn't selling. I was holding, and I was buying in the, I think, 80 cent range, 80 and 90 cent range. I was loading up. So as this thing shot up, now I've basically been able to make almost 60% in a day. It went all the way up to 175. I was selling in the 160s, so I was selling at like 165. I was unloading Decentraland. So that's just an update on Decentraland. You can see in the past day we went all the way up to 183, right? So that was a nice move, and I'm talking Canadian. All the prices that I use are Canadian because that's what I trade. And obviously we know that Ethereum has broken out to all-time highs. With Ethereum, I've always been big on Ethereum. I've been hyping it. I hype it in almost all my videos. I think Ethereum is going to be bigger than Bitcoin. It's just a matter of getting the hype and allowing the kind of haters and the people that, the governments and all the different people that, all the different negativity that's around it, the banning or the blocking or the, the mining fee, the gas fee, all these things that have weighed down crypto for the past 6 months are kind of being overlooked, and everybody's just kind of jumping on the train because they realize that these things are all just superfluous. They have no real meaning because at the end of the day, you have all of these scaling solutions. You have all of these different tokens and platforms trying, that are making it cheaper, easier to do these different mining and gas fees or whatever, right? Every day it gets cheaper. And so the idea that this is something that shouldn't be utilized or should be kind of, it's not gonna be green for the planet or whatever. Well, the idea of printing thousands of dollars of paper currency, cutting down trees, and all of these other aspects to print with chemicals, and there's 1,000 different reasons why like the money system or just currency in itself is a problem, right? Like you're mining resources from the earth, you're taking things from the earth, you're polluting it with chemicals. I'm not trying to say I'm like hating on currency, but I do think that the value of cryptocurrency, the value of decentralized finance is just so great that it overpowers any of these negative headlines or kind of these kind of fear-based, or I should say, or even like ethics-based arguments for why these things shouldn't be good. Then you start to argue about how, like, well, at the end of the day, it's not cool for governments to just be able to control and inflate your currency to the point where your money is now way less valuable than it was 5 years ago, right? So maybe if you had 1,000 in the bank 5 years ago, now you only have 600 because 400 of it is basically just gone from inflation, or like basically the cost of living is so high now that we can't even afford to live. So we need to find other ways to make money, to make our money work for us, and to kind of get outside of the centralized financial system that is basically inflating and driving the cost of living to prices that are just so outrageous. So we need to find alternatives to be able to afford to live and to be able to make, to be able to make money without having to basically work 3 or 4 full-time jobs just to be able to afford, to live in the society. So this is why I've always been a big fan of Ethereum, and also like it just has so many different benefits that the real financial system doesn't have, right? And yeah, that's my thoughts on Ethereum. So let's give you a price analysis, and that's the fact that like I kept telling people when I was looking at it earlier, or when I was looking at it kind of the overall chart, right? we had this high of 45. You know what I mean? Like it hit this high, and really this is Canadian, but this chart's not accurate because it actually hit at like a high of 53. So it hit a high of 53 5300 way back in March or in May, right? So April or May. So, and then it kind of crashed down. So we were watching to see if it could break the all-time high. In the last couple weeks, it tested it, but then it rejected, and it actually broke it for a second, but then rejected, and now you're seeing it crawl back up. And this is what I was explaining to people, is that, you know, you have to watch different price levels. If you go back to watch my videos earlier, and I was explaining that these levels will act as resistance until they break, and then they act as support, right? So resistance becomes support, and support becomes resistance. It works going both ways, but with Ethereum, it's been so strong that the kind of downward support levels that break just end up getting bought and right back up, because there's just so much demand for this new system, this new DeFi system. Anyway, another token that I was actually talking about many times. So I was talking about this thing when it was at 45 cents. I brought this to you guys way back here when it was at 45 cents, and I said, guys, jump on Polygon. It has all the upside of Ethereum with none of the downside. I said Polygon is going to be one of your best tokens to be able to ride the wave of Ethereum and the hype that's behind Ethereum. And, you know, if you listened, well, you turned 1,000 into 6,000, right? And you did it in a very short period of time, right? So these are the things that I brought and that I've kind of been harping on. Obviously, the other asset that I harp on quite a bit is also Cardano. So I've recently just bought more Cardano today. I think Cardano is going to be one of your biggest bets for kind of a massive move to the upside, and it's kind of been selling off for the past month. So I think that this could be a prime place to kind of start to pick up some Cardano. And as you can see, this previous resistance level around 260, right? It was kind of broken here, and now it's kind of coming back down to these other resistance levels at 225. So you can see here now that 225 is starting to act as support, and you're kind of having support around the 250, which is the same area that the resistance was back here. So this is kind of how you can tell where certain levels are and where you want to buy, where you want to be a buyer, and where you want to kind of sell. So obviously, you know, if you're a buyer down here at 143, you want to be selling as it kind of breaks towards that up, and if it can break that, then you kind of want to wait till you have a reversal, then you want to get out, and then you want to kind of wait till you get back down to support, and you want to buy. So I think that right now Cardano is at a support level in which people are looking to add back to their positions and kind of jump back on the train as this thing moves higher. So that's my thoughts on Cardano. It's obviously a blockchain solution. This is different than Ethereum. This is not a token like Polygon or like Mana. This is a totally different crypto, a blockchain provider that is providing real world solutions to businesses, corporations, governments, and to people just like me and you. And this is why I think that Cardano and ALGO, which is the other big one that has recently been getting a nice pump, that I was also big on when I was bringing these to you months ago. So ALGO was one of the biggest things that I was pumping with Cardano. I said ALGO and Cardano are basically the same. They move in a very similar fashion. And I was telling this to you way back here at 130. I said buy at 130, buy at 130, right? And you could have bought it at $1. You could have got it at 90 cents, right? Now look where you're at, right? You went to over $3. I was selling it at 314 and 275 is where I was selling Algorand after I bought it at $1.30 when I told you way back here to buy it. So Algorand is another one that I think is kind of consolidating. You can see here the previous resistance, the previous tops of the resistance. Where were they? 220, oh, surprisingly, where is Algorand finding support? 220. Could it be coincidence? I think not. This is why you need to pay attention to previous price action. So, the other one that I want to bring, actually there's two more that I want to bring to your attention. And obviously, nobody needs to have Shiba Inu brought to their attention, because people already understand that this thing has just been on a monster. And it's funny because, like, me and my cousin were kind of making fun of my other cousin at Thanksgiving, because, you know, me and my one cousin are big into like Algorand, Cardano, Ethereum, and my other cousin is big into Shiba. He's like, no, Shiba, and he's saying this like way back here, right? So yeah, so this guy is up basically, you know, like insane amounts. My cousin, you know, he's up more than 300, 400%, my cousin, ever since he was telling me to buy back here. So I feel like an idiot, but I also feel like this is something that is going to crash. Now, obviously we know that Shiba Inu is a Dogecoin meme token that is basically it's a joke, right? It's a joke token. It's not, I shouldn't say it's a joke, but it's aspiring to be an Ethereum token like Mana or like Polygon, right? But right now it's basically nothing. What is giving it hype is the fact that people are buying it, that the name Shiba is just become synonymous with gains, with like, it's like AMC and GameStop, right? So who knows, it might go up 1,000% still, it might go up 500% still, but at the end of the day, it's going to go back down. It's going to go back down to, I would say, this level of, you know, 0.0000037, right? So back down to these levels of 36 and 37, where you're seeing it finding this support and resistance here. That's probably the level I see it going back to eventually. But right now, I would almost say it's probably good to just buy. Just buy some, you know, like it's down from the top. Just throw a couple $100 in and let it ride. That's my advice on Shiba. And I'm not going to say to anybody that it's a bad investment, but at the same time, it's a speculative investment. It's probably the most speculative investment you could ever make in your life, which is why you can turn 1,000 into 10,000, but you could also turn 1,000 into zero, you know, or like $100, which is very, very easy to do. So the question is will the hype train continue? So if the next couple of days, you know, if every day it's up 10%, or if like tomorrow it's up 10, then it's up 10 again, you know, it's good to just buy like $200-300 and see what happens, right? But I don't necessarily suggest putting any more in, especially at the prices that it's at right now. So last but not least, I want to talk about Terra. So Luna is this one, and this one is kind of like Solana. It is an alternative to Ethereum. It is essentially like a platform like Ethereum. So it is kind of its own crypto, right? And what it does, it's not supported by Coinbase, so it doesn't really say much about it. It doesn't even say anything about it. But basically, it is a crypto like Ethereum, so providing blockchain solutions and trying to create this kind of a decentralized financial system. But Terra is its own system, so it's not relying on Ethereum, it's not relying on Bitcoin, it's not relying on, you know, Shiba. not that anything's relying on Shiba, but it's standalone crypto. Terra, Luna. You can go through a lot of different big time investors, and a lot of them are hyping Luna. So I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. All I know is it's an alternative to Ethereum. A lot of people think that this could be the next Ethereum. Right now, I think it's kind of risky. I think that if you want to be a buyer, you want to be a buyer in like this $34 area, or, you know, obviously 25 would be really good. 20 being like really, really good. If you can get in towards $20, I think this is a really good investment. But anywhere up here in the 50s, I think it's risky. unless it can obviously break all-time highs of 62, and then it might be a good investment to buy for this thing to rip to 100. As you know, with Solana, because Solana is very similar to Luna, and Solana is basically the alternative to it's an NFT network. So it basically is like it sells NFTs. It uses Sol to pay for transactions. Is to provide or improve blockchain scalability by using a combination of proof of stakes, consensus, and so-called proof of stake history. Right. So it basically is its own platform, just like Terra or just like Ethereum, and they look to, basically offer the same services, but with its own unique crypto network and code. So as you can see here, just like Terra, Luna, when it was back in the 50s, months ago, this thing kind of broke out from 20, hit 50, kind of, chopped around for a bit, kind of hit this almost the same high, right? Hit into the 60s, and then it failed. And then it just kind of chopped around for a bit, and then it took off. So in the last couple of months, it's gone from this $45, $50 all the way to $250. So a lot of people are looking at Terra, Luna, saying it could be the same thing, and saying that the actual network they have is actually more valuable, or could be more valuable than Solana. So that's something to think about, something to look into. I don't think Solana is a good buy at these prices. I think that you definitely don't want to be buying it anywhere in the 250s. Waiting for 200 or even like 150 might be better, or back towards this level of 100 is if I'm going to buy Solana, it's going to be probably at $100, to be honest with you. And I'm probably not going to touch it other than that, because it's getting hype. It's being hyped up. It's not necessarily moving because of anything specific, other than the fact that it's getting hyped because of the fact that it is an alternative and it's providing these NFTs, and NFTs are blowing up right now. So because the NFTs are getting so much hype, Solana is getting hype. But Luna is, in my mind, a better option right now. So if you're looking for an alternative to Ethereum and you don't want to go with Solana, or you think Solana is a little too expensive like I do, I think that Luna is a good buy. So yeah, so that's that for my Coinbase and crypto updates. And I think obviously Ethereum and Mana are probably your best, and Cardano are your best to load up on right now. And well, with Decentraland, let's see what happens. If it starts to crash tomorrow, then we're obviously in for a big flush back down to probably $1. But if it can go up and break 160, 170 again, we could be going to 250. So I'm going to be holding about 300-400 in Mana to see what happens. But let's let it ride. Let it ride. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And hopefully you guys have a great day.